Hi, everyone. Welcome back to this amazing podcast. My name is Ian. I'm in 8th grade, and I am 14 years old.
Hi, my name is Paulina. I am in 8th grade. I am 15 years old, and I am very excited for being here.
Hi, my name is Anna. I'm 17 years old, and I'm in 11th grade.
Hi everyone, my name is Natalia. I am 17 years old and I'm in 9th grade. I'm really happy to be here talking about a really important topic.
All right, that's amazing. Now that you've all you all introduced yourselves. Well, today's topic of this podcast is going to be about freedom. Now, I want to ask you guys a few questions, a few magical questions. So, what comes to your guys' mind when you hear the word freedom?
Okay.
I think it's a right that every person has, and it's an ideal that makes us be ourselves.
I think I would consider it as a liberty of expression amongst everyone and the rights that we all have, that we should be treated equally.
Yeah. As Paulina said, it's a right that we all have, and it's the power to speak, to make, and decide what we want.
Yeah, it's also a thing where we can dress how we want, just be ourselves in general, and just be happy overall, because we're so lucky.
And be able to choose.
Yeah, be able to choose what we like and what we want to do in life,
Yeah.
and who we want to be. So that's an amazing right.
It's a really important topic.
Yeah, a super important topic. That's why we're talking about it today. All right. Now, another question is, do you guys think you're as free as you want to be?
I think sometimes I feel free and sometimes not, because society sometimes is not liberal and open-minded, so it's hard.
Yeah.
Personally, I think I am as free as I want to be, because sadly, and it's a very important topic that most of us have more privilege than others could even have access to. And it's not something I'm necessarily proud of, because not everyone has access to certain opportunities like we do. But with that being said, I am grateful because I do have freedom, and I am glad that at some point I am able to do most things others might not have to. It's really an eye-opening thing, and it keeps me open-minded.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
I think it's like a privilege.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be a
definitely
right, but it's kind of a privilege. And I also think there are kind of freedom. You can be even not free in your own mind or in your own thoughts and all of that. But I think I'm free. I feel free thanks to my family. I am growing as a free person, and I feel happy and great out of all of that.
Yeah, but like Paulina said, she had a very good answer that sometimes we don't feel as free because we feel like society might judge us for how we are.
That's right.
So we always feel like we're never going to be good enough, but yet we always are. So, yeah.
And what do you feel about it? Do you feel you're free enough?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it just depends on what I said about society, that sometimes I don't feel as free.
Yeah.
But now that I realize it, I'm super free and I'm happy about it.
That's great.
Yeah. Now, why is freedom so important in our school?
I think it's very important because it makes us grow as persons and be who we are really, not a fake person.
Freedom is very important because there's so many examples in our school. One of the examples that we have is in our school, we don't have doors, meaning we have the liberty to enter when we want. But that, with that being said, we must not take advantage of that freedom, because we're being given a right. But at the same time, you have to know the limits that you have with it and not abuse the power. Otherwise, it's just pure corruption.
Yep.
Even our clothes, we don't use a uniform. We are free to decide what to wear, depending on our taste and likes and love stuff. And I think that's also really important to develop as a person, to know what kind of tastes do you have.
Also, in recess, we can talk, we can
Have
go
fun.
have fun, and dress like you said, like we want.
Yeah. We can also talk with anyone that we want, with kindness and respect, of course.
Yeah.
We can have the right to ask our teachers by the first name, talk to them. And it's just a very, very free thing to do.
And they talk to us for our
Yeah.
first name.
Yeah.
That's really important.
Yeah.
And I think freedom is important not only in school, but in all places.
Around the world.
Yeah, in all the
In
world.
this universe.
It's really important because I think the opposite of freedom is like fear, and you cannot be
Living in
with
fear.
fear and with happiness.
Yeah.
You can only have one of those emotions. So if you are free, you're most likely to be happy.
Yep, and that's so true. That's very true. Now, how can we lose our freedom? Well, I personally think that you can lose it by just being so disrespectful sometimes and by doing the things that aren't right. But that depends on us, right?
It's a really complex situation because
Yeah.
you can lose it by a little
So many
thing and
things.
for the government and
Yeah.
a lot of
You can lose your all your rights. You can't go outside. You can't do this. You can't do that.
all around the history. There are
Yeah.
examples where people lost their freedom.
Yeah, but
Sadly.
thank God we have everything again.
Yeah, and this
our
part of the
freedom.
world, yeah, we have it.
Yeah, but we gotta be super grateful for that. 'cause
Yeah, it's a
sometimes-
privilege.
Sometimes people don't realize it, and the way
Yeah,
they don't
that's
realize
right.
it is that they can just be super ungrateful, which isn't fair because there's people who don't have the same rights as us.
It's what Jimenez
Yeah.
says.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Another example of like how we lose freedom, I think, is when we face the consequences of our actions because you have the right, you have a choice in life. There's two paths. There's not a middle path. There's good and bad. It's just the way it is. And if you choose good, good will come to you. If you choose bad, that energy will reciprocate to you. And of course, it's going to come back. You're going to have to face the consequences of your actions. So I think that's the moment you lose the freedom when you choose to make bad decisions that not only you think might affect you,
To affect
and
others.
yeah, they'll come to affect others, and that's not something that you would ever want.
Yeah, because we always have the right to choose what we want to do and how we want to go in life. So that just depends on us in general.
Yeah, I agree with all of you.
And I think there's a line between your decision and what makes you happy and what can affect others. So
Yeah.
it's difficult.
Yep.
It's a complex situation.
It's very complex. But how does freedom identify us? How do we identify as a person with freedom? Personally, I think that we identify because of how we dress, how we talk, who we are, what color, what is our favorite color. Even the slightest things like that make us who we are. It's like you can like acting, you can like singing, you can like dancing, and that's you.
Yeah.
That's what freedom identifies us as. And I love that. I love to have that, right?
I love that either. As I said before, I can identify a free person if he's happy.
Yeah.
Of course, there are exceptions. Like, there are
Yeah.
bad times in life where you
Yeah.
cannot be happy even if you're free.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really important thing because freedom also gives you responsibility.
Yeah.
So, like Jimenez says, the consequences of your acts makes you be responsible of them, and I think that's also a part of freedom.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Something else with what Ian said is mainly the way we all come in different shapes, sizes, looks, mentalities, emotions,
Countries,
psychological
even that.
problems, all that. They make us free in a way. Like even if it's something bad, I think it makes us free because it makes us learn a lesson from it. Something most people cannot have, something most people don't want to do, and that's something that's very important. And it helps us develop as people grow, become better, learn from our past mistakes and head towards the future, fighting for a better us, a better future, a better generation, and that's really the thing that's going to form us most as a whole unit.
And something interesting that you said there was, how does it make us develop as a person? And lucky for you, that was my next question. So I would like to hear, how does it help us develop as a person?
We can be just ourselves and be a better version of us,
Yeah.
and that.
Yeah.
It helps us include other values that maybe we were not open to before, because there's so many cases where certain people get certain help they need or things like that to help them become more free, to help them become more free of themselves in this nutshell that they're in. Because like Paulina mentioned earlier, due to society wanting you to fit in, it's like that's the whole point of it. You're unique, you're different. That's something that you want to be known for, not something
That
you want
others
to
want you to
be.
be.
Yeah, not something that others want you to be. You don't want to be known as someone who's known for following other people's. You want to be the one who stands out, the one who makes a difference, the one who makes a mark on absolutely
In history,
everyone.
yeah.
The one who makes an impact. That's the
On
main
everyone's
reason.
lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's super true. It helps us develop like someone who was it that said that helps us like recognize our mistakes.
Paulina.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was Paulina, like you said, that really helps us with that because we look
Yes.
back and then we're like, that was wrong. But now I have the right to be a better person,
It's
a better version, a version
yeah.
that I'm just super happy with.
It's kind of, I said before, the responsibility that came with freedom,
Yeah.
because you can be responsible of the decisions you make because you made them,
Yeah.
not because you were made to do it.
Yeah, or
I
like
don't
someone
know.
tells you to do it.
Yeah.
You have to choose
So you
this.
have to be also responsible, and that really helps with your development.
Yeah.
And all of
And another question is freedom. So, when we talk about freedom, what does that want you make? What does that want you to be in life?
Be myself, just be myself. It doesn't matter what other people said, and
When I think of myself as someone free, I think as someone in the near future who's very successful, who's open-minded not only to myself, because mainly I think an important factor is that you can't help yourself, you can't really help others, and that's pretty much like a chain reaction. So I think if I manage to help others, I could also make an impact on myself.
Yeah.
It's like a trade. And I wouldn't necessarily do it because I want something back. I just want to do it because
It
that's
makes you
what I
feel
love.
good.
It
Yeah.
makes me
Yeah.
feel good as a person.
I agree with you, and I also think I made myself happy, and I think it's also important to free ourselves of
Yeah.
of our fears and
Comfort zone.
yeah, and our comfort zone, because sometimes we made ourselves feel without freedom,
Yeah.
and that's dangerous. And so I wanted to work on that and be conscious about what things I am stopping myself to do just because my fears or that kind of stuff.
Stopping you. Yeah. So yeah, that's super true. That freedom makes us who we want to be honest, and it's just such a great thing to have in our lives, and I wouldn't change a bit.
And what do you think about it? How do you imagine yourself being
Well, with free, I can step out of my comfort zone,
Oh.
do things that I never thought I could or I would be until a certain point in my life. But I'm like super happy about that, and I wouldn't change a thing about that.
free? Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Now, does anyone else want to add something?
No.
No.
I think that's
Just
all.
mainly that you bring new beginnings, new ends,
Yeah.
new experiences. While you're closing a chapter, you open another one. Just like a door closes, a door opens. Everything does happen for a reason. And that's the whole point of freedom, because you can be free mentally, emotionally, psychologically,
Physically.
and physically as well. You're free when you're happy, you're healthy, you have a house, you have these rights,
People that
you have
love
an
you.
education, you have food, you have all these things that others, like I mentioned before, don't have access to. Makes you open your eyes, it opens a new perspective, especially here in this country, Guatemala, since it suffers so many problems, so much violence, so much sexism, so much racism. It's not something that should be given, but sadly it is. And I
Would be
think
normal.
yeah, and I think in our school, it's something that has come to contribute to society. It could help the near future, the newest generation, because I've seen changes in people where they're changing their mentality and they're actually opening their eyes. They're putting, they're getting their head out of the clouds and they're like, oh, this is where I am. This is what it's like. This is real life.
They're getting down to earth.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say that this was an amazing experience to have with you guys again. I just really loved it. You guys have so much information. You guys know what you're saying. You guys know what you're doing. You just have your head all set up, and I very, very much like that.
I feel free here.
Yeah, we feel free.
I also like it. Yeah.
Free.
I also like it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for coming again. I can't wait to see you guys next time, and well, tune in for our next episode. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.